Thank you for joining us again on Djji Tutorials. Today we are diving into using a calculator to graph composite functions. To graph composite functions on a graphing calculator, first enter the individual functions into y1 and y2. Then define the composite function, for example, f of g of x in y3, typically by using y1 of y2 of x or similar syntax depending on the calculator. Finally, adjust the viewing window and graph the composite function in y3. Detailed steps. First, enter the individual functions. Press the y equals button to access the function editor. Enter the first function f of x into y1. Enter the second function g of x into y2. Next, define the composite function. In y3, define the composition of functions, for example, f of g of x. This might involve using y vars to call y1 or f and y2 or g, for a TI-84 example. Press second, then vars to access the y vars menu. Select function and then y1 or y2 to represent the respective functions. Adjust the viewing window. Press the window button to set the appropriate viewing window for your graph. Consider the range of x and y values where the composite function might be interesting or important. Graph the composite function by pressing the graph button to display the composite function defined in y3. You can also use the trace function to explore the graph and find specific points or features, according to mathbits.com. You can also use the table function to generate a table of values for the composite function. Let's say you have f of x equals x squared and g of x equals x plus 2. To graph f of g of x, you would enter f of x in y1 as x squared. Then enter g of x in y2 as x plus 2. In y3, define the composite function as y1 of y2 of x, which might look like y1 of y2 of x or y1 of x plus 2 depending on your calculator's syntax. Adjust the window to see the graph, then press the graph button to see f of g of x. Tip: you can use Desmos to graph composite functions. To graph composite functions on Desmos, first define your functions, like f of x and g of x. Then, enter the composite function in the Desmos graphing calculator by typing f of g of x or g of f of x, depending on the composition you want to visualize. Desmos will automatically graph the resulting composite function. Here's a more detailed breakdown. First, define the functions. In the Desmos input field, enter the equations for your functions. For example, f of x equals x plus 2 and g of x equals x squared. Next, enter the composite function. In a new input field, type the composite function you want to graph. For instance, to graph f of g of x, enter f of g of x, or to graph g of f of x, enter g of f of x. Now, observe the graph. Desmos will automatically graph the resulting composite function. You can also explore the graph by adjusting the domain of the axes or using sliders to see how the composite function behaves with different inputs. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next session.